We were paying that for our subscription.
There's nothing better than just reading
Get
it
a
off.
cup of coffee in the morning,
Read a
whatever.
paper.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not paying, what was it,
It
$30?
went from like $99 a year is what we had forever, and then they wanted I think $29.99 a month, and it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's damn near $500 a year.
now you can print coupons. You don't need the coupons that would come on
Right. Yeah, that's
Sundays
what
or
my wife liked.
I
And
mean
then the Sunday paper, you know,
yeah,
all the stuff.
ads, but now you can
You're in a
get it all online.
different age.
And then when you yeah, that whole building at the end was one of
Hello, hello, hello.
Well, hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? How are you, Kevin?
I
Okay,
am
are you ready?
good.
Because I'm over here saying, okay, you are listening to the voice of San Joaquin.org right here off the Miracle Mile, TVOSJ.org, and also pretty soon 89.5 FM KBCC Tracy. We are a local nonprofit multimedia
Hey,
community broadcasting network. Woo! What do you think of that, Kevin?
hey.
Hey! Awesome.
That's great.
Awesome, awesome. So you are on, my friend. So whatever you want to talk about now, I love it. The fact that you bring up Black history, I love that.
Well,
And then
it's
local.
as
You,
you know, it's an important thing to me. So I love bringing up those things because sometimes people just don't know. And Black history is American history.
yes.
So I remind people of that every chance I get.
Bless your heart. So you are on. You are on, my friend. Mike is yours.
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good evening, folks. Tonight's show, we're basically going to begin with is to give you guys an idea of the success some of our local schools, high schools, in terms of high school basketball. Uh, St. Mary's has advanced in the playoffs, point to where the girls tonight, the St. Mary's girls tonight, are playing against Cardinal Newman and the St. Mary's Grizz the other night. This is called the NorCal playoff. Now, that's a little different than the section playoffs. So I'm going to explain to you how all that goes. The San Joaquin, all the teams that play in the league, those teams play based on the record of schedule and then based on who wins the conference. Like, for example, right here in town, we have the SK2A, which is comprised of 6 schools. And then you have the PCAL, which is comprised of 7 schools. Those schools, based on their records, based on what divisions they're in, play in different divisions or what's called the open division of the playoff. In the section playoffs, St. Mary's, people always ask this question and they say, well, how come St. Mary's plays Division II? Well, St. Mary's has a small enrollment. Their enrollment's only about 750 kids, perhaps. And so what you don't want is a school like St. Mary's playing against a school like Folsom that has like 3,000 kids, because there's a statistical, empirical advantage with the big school playing against a school of that size. So the section, CIF, Sac Joaquin, which runs all the way from the edge of Sacramento all the way down to Merced. In fact, it's the largest section in California. They basically try to even things out so that you don't find or catch schools with small enrollment playing against big giant schools. Now, in some states, I have a teammate that I played with at Washington State who's from Indiana, and in his state, they throw everybody in a tournament. They play by section, and the state champion is the state champion. And the state champion can sometimes be a school of 200-300 people. It's unusual, but it happens. For example, most people who are into movies or sports movies know about the movie Hoosiers. Hoosiers tells that story. It's a small little town of Hickory, which, okay, that speaks for itself. Hickory, Indiana and they go all the way to the state finals and play against the team from Indianapolis, a high school from Indianapolis. Hickory, I think, had 100 students, and I think the school from Indiana had somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 students. Now, there's some, that's actually a cool thing sometimes to see something like that happen, but for the most part, it's not really equitable or fair because they have a larger size sample of kids to choose from, and, it makes a difference in the long run. So anyway, here in this state, they separate them, and they play them in different divisions, and then the winner of that particular section ends up being the section champion, and they have the right to go on to play in what's called the NorCal. And the NorCals is the next step before you end up going to play for the state championship. And right now, we have a few teams that are pretty, well, they're in the NorCal. And they're a few games away from possibly even playing for a state championship. And as weird as life is and the things are, we've got a few local teams still left. The opportunity to play. One of them is hold on one second. One of them is Western Ranch High School out in South Stockton. They have the opportunity to they've moved on and they can play. They have the opportunity. I think they're playing. Let's see. A little bit tick on. Here we go. They're taking on St. Mary's will be playing. I know St. Mary's will end up playing Whitney High. Whitney was played in the number one. They beat the number one seed the other night. They're a number 16 seed. So because of that, St. Mary's will have a home game, which I don't think they saw coming. They'll take it. And they're going to end up playing a home game against Whitney on Thursday night. And if St. Mary's should perhaps win that game, then it's West Ranch will be playing Tech. Both of those teams win, and we'll have the regional semifinal game played at Western Ranch, and it will be two local teams, St. Mary's and Western Ranch. And that will be must-see TV because, like I said, that would put them, whoever won that game would be one game away from going to the state championship in Division II. Like I said, it's very difficult in this state, by the side of it, just bringing people that live here, to get an opportunity to play for the state championship is massive. It's unreal. When I was playing in high school, we didn't have a state championship. But what we did do was there was a tournament in Oakland. It was called the Tournament of Champions. What they did was they took all of the better teams from the Bay, and the teams that won championships in the Bay Area, and the teams from a team from the Valley, and then they brought a couple of teams from Los Angeles or Southern California to come play up in the tournament against the kids for NorCal. And while that wasn't an actual state championship, it was considered what they say mythical state championship. So whoever won that tournament was the quote-unquote mythical state champion. So even though it settled on the court and everybody played their way to it, whoever won it was considered, the mythical state champion. Now the way that it's ran is that it's, you have the sections, you have the NorCal. You win the NorCal, then you play against a team from the Southern California section for the state title. Now this year, I'm not exactly sure where that game, where they're playing a final. Gold Run Center this year. So anybody that would be interested in going to take a look, it would be kind of cool to go to Gold Run Center, watching and get a good look at the state championship. I've gone several times, and it's in fact, as coincidence would have it, I saw Smith play in the state final against James Harden when he was at Artesia High School, and he played well, but I didn't expect him to be who he is now. And say they beat St. Mary's, I think, by about 10 or 11, and that St. Mary's team, I believe, had Joe Harden on it and Mark Payne. And they played well, and they actually gave him a game. And, the only other state champion that I know that came from this area that actually won the state championship, Manteca High, about 3 or 4 years back, when the team with Keith Wooten, Young Jr., and Tyler Hogan, and those guys. And they won the 3rd state champion, and I was present for that one. So, again, it's all of this is, March Madness. I like this whole, the feeling that March is that month where, we find out who's who, and the best are, and the challenges present themselves. I enjoy this time of year for a lot of reasons, but particularly, I really like, the college department, the excitement, the televised games going on over the day, all that kind of stuff. This is high school version of the same thing. I'd say NCAA March Madness light. And Brookside also in the semifinals of the Cals. And they play a team from out of the Bay Area, Stewart Hall, and they will play them at Keywater Pavilion, which is in San Francisco. And it was a historic building. And it's going to be interesting to see how they fare in that one. That should be an interesting ball game for them. So at this moment, on the boys' side, I believe you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got 4 teams that are playing with possibility of state championship online. And then you got a few Sacramento teams. Calaveras High is another one that's in Division 5, and they have a chance at it as well. So, like I said, it makes for great stuff when you have local teams that are involved. Ripon Christian and Stockton Christian are also still playing. In fact, Ripon Christian is the 2nd seeded team. They're in Division 6. Now, the difference for them is that they don't get the opportunity to play for a state championship, play for the NorCal championship. Now, why they don't play and have an opportunity for Division state championship, don't know. But if I would sure to guess that there's too many schools in Southern California that have school sizes that small, the 200 or 300 range. That would be my guess as to why they don't do that, because it would probably be complicated to find enough teams to hold an actual real tournament. But for our county to have that many teams playing in the NorCal, and with an opportunity to go to the state tournament, it's quite an accomplishment. And it's something that, the community should be proud of, because it's been difficult to get this far. It ain't easy. And, all the local teams, give them a salute, because, like I said, this is no joke. It's very difficult to get this far. I had to get into the semifinals of the Tournament of Champions when I was a senior. We lost the game to the final to Catamount. And they were a slightly bigger school than us then. Probably still are. The cool part was just getting an opportunity to, play at the what's now it used to be the Warriors at the Oracle. Back then it was just called Oakland Coliseum Arena. But I love that place. I thought that was the coolest place ever to play ball. And it's an opportunity for the kids for that a day or two to feel like pros. And then on the girls' side, the St. Mary's girls are playing Cardinal Newman right about now. And they're playing them at St. Mary's High School. And the St. Mary's girls have a number 4 rookie in NorCal's. For the most part, they've had their opportunities to, like last year, they won and this year they've done it again for the 13th straight time. But, that team was a little younger. This has a little bit more experience, some very good seniors. It wasn't surprising at all to them go to the North-South final or even to the state final. And then the best with them is yet to come because they've got some size, got talented athletes, they're nationwide recruits. They're very, very competent and well coached. Their head coach Tom Gonzalez, his resume is amazing. This is a guy who has been named National Coach of the Year 3 times. He's won 2 national championships. He's won, I believe, under him, he's won 5. I think he has 8 state titles total. They've now 13 straight sections. God knows how many league championships they've won. It's the kind of resume that, as far as I'm concerned, I can't imagine any other coach in this area having a better resume than Gonzalez. And, may feel not him any way to choose, but the guy is definitely a winner, and he knows how to get the most out of his kid. And so, with that said, I wish that everyone playing and are still playing well, because it's going to be interesting to see how all this turns out. And at the end of the day, like I said, it's just opportunity to play that people never forget. Next topic that I wanted to discuss is something that I kind of ran across earlier today, and it's very interesting. That's the collective bargaining agreement talks between the NFL Players Association and the owners, and the NFL owners. Now, you may say to yourself, well, what's the big deal about all that? I would say it's a huge deal because there's a possibility, and I think it's a real possibility, of there being a strike where the players are going to end up striking against the owners and against football. And it's the last time something like that happened. I believe it cost the owners somewhere in the neighborhood of $750 million or more. It's painful. So when you're talking that kind of money, but football has generated that kind of money. Now it's a corporation. It's just, so a lot of people don't understand the significance of it. But it is without question a monolith of a league. And people don't understand that there's labor laws and there's all kinds of other stuff that goes with it. And like, for example, and I'll use this as an example, and some people appreciate this, some may not. When Colin Kaepernick decided to take him, Eric Reed joined him, and then a bunch of other players started doing it. But I heard a lot on social media, which people were saying, "What those owners didn't stand up? They're there. They didn't do what their boss tells them to do." And then I have to give these people the reality. And here's the reality. Football players, basketball players, baseball players are unionized sports entertainers. And you say, okay, that all sounds interesting, but what do you they are unionized in the fact that they make a decision on what sort of work environment that they will that they will say is okay to work with, and then the NFL owners or management have to agree to that. And then they set the rules as to what's considered a work environment. Now, unions in this country aren't what they used to be, as I'm sure everybody knows. Union membership at one time in this country was over 50%. I think now it's like down to 7 or 8. But at any rate, the players have to negotiate with the owners what conditions they will play under. And then the owners have to agree or disagree as to what things that they will allow or want the players to play under. Now, or conditions, I mean. And so, the big question is, people say, well, okay, that's your boss. He can tell you what to do. Yes and no. And that's what complicates things. For example, in the previous players' agreement, there was no provision made on whether or not somebody, and actually, to say it correctly, there was no provision ever that said that an athlete had to stand for the playing national anthem. And so, because of that, an owner can't arbitrarily tell a player you can't do that if it hasn't been agreed or discussed with the players' union and collectively bargained first. And so while you heard a few owners making, threats and saying, that they will stand and all that kind of stuff, behind the scenes, they knew they couldn't make them do it. They knew it. And the players knew it too. Now, the social issue, and there's the issue of the fans feeling alienated when people are doing it, but the truth is that the players not only had that right, but management couldn't change it unless they collectively bargained a solution. And the problem when you start talking about saying, we'll collectively bargain that. When you collectively bargain it, that means the whole agreement itself is up for renegotiation. So if you say, we're going to open this up because the owners say, well, we're going to open this up because we want to remove this or remove that. The players will say, okay, but if you're going to remove this or that, we want this or that. And that may or may not be something that the owners want to do or give up. So there literally is negotiations involved, and it gets pretty heated. Because you've got one entity, which are the owners, who are guys who are billionaires for the most part, who are not used to having people question or assert their authority. So because of that, you have guys that some of them, and you have some owners that, they look at it from the perspective of, okay, this is part of the work process, it's part of what we do. We want, fair and equal treatment of our players, and that's the route we're going to go. And then you have some owners that say, no, I'm a billionaire, you're an employee, and, this is available because of me, and if you're not going to, if you want to be a butthead about it, then strike. Now, the problem is that it's already been empirically proven that if there is a strike, it hurts financially. It hurts viewership. It hurts interest. It hurts people buying product as far as jerseys or that kind of thing. It hurts their television situation because they sell ads during the game. So a strike is pretty close to a catastrophe. So right now they're in negotiation. And these negotiations are basically centered around the owners wanting the players to play an extra game. Right now, as the schedule is, there are 16 regular season games. The owners are saying, hey, we want you guys to play 17, and we'll up your percentage of what you guys can receive in terms of the compensation package. And what that means is, like, for example, I'll use the NBA as an example. I know this one real well because my former attorney used to be the head of the NBA Players Association. The NBA players get a split of the overall revenue, and it's 51-49 or 52-48, meaning the players get 52% of all revenue, and the owners get the other 48. And they split that way. That's the split. And what's interesting about that, or what where it gets contentious, is to you and me was saying, well, okay, it's 51% to 49. That's not so bad. Well, 1 percentage point could mean as much as $500 million revenue either to the owners or to the players. And for the players, that's their base salaries going up. That's extra compensation in terms of the way that playoff games, how much those cost, or how much they get in terms of their playoff share. It all makes a huge difference. So the NFL is saying, okay, we add another game to the schedule. It'll increase revenue, and then we can pay you guys more. Which sounds good on its face. Sounds real good. Where it gets complicated is, by playing that extra game, there's also one more game where you're getting your head pounded in, or you're taking a hit, or there's a possibility of just an injury, just running down the field and having your knee go. And so that extra game is a personal, physical, and financial risk to the players. And then the owners want to expand the playoffs. And to the average fan, that sounds like, okay, that sounds cool. More teams getting involved, more cities getting involved. Well, a little more complicated than that. And how it gets more complicated is those extra playoff games make a difference in terms of the television contract that the league has with the networks that show it. For example, is right currently the deal goes with ESPN, it goes with Fox, and it goes with CBS, and then NBC does Sunday night football, which is one game a week, and they do it on Sunday night. Now, if you add some more other teams to the playoff picture, that again is more revenue. That again is more viewers. That again is more advertisement for the networks. So everybody gets to make more money. But then again, there's the risk. Because now instead of playing a total of, if you go all the way 18, 19 games, now you're talking maybe 321. And so there's the wear and tear on your body. There's the possibility of injury. And then that also means that the season might last longer, or the season might, in terms of stadium dates and that kind of thing, run into other stuff. So right now, the argument between the players and the owners is that the owners want to create more revenue, and they're dangling in front of the players that the guys, add another regular season game, and you add some more playoff games, that adds to the pool, will increase your share of how much you guys earn, and you'll make more money. The younger guys who are coming into the league, they're like, okay, sounds good to me. That's more money in my pocket. Sounds good to me. But the older guys, and I've heard older quarterbacks and older players, they're like, wait a minute, Brooke. You need to take a couple minutes to think about what this means. Because see, now that you're young and you can take these hits and, it's all good. You can come back next week and bounce back. An old dude like me, it ain't so good. I only got so many games and so many hits in his body. And so you're too young to understand that because your breath smells like whipping cream. So you need to listen to us old guys who were telling you that all that sounds good, but it's going to be an issue as you age. And so right now, a year early, so that there's no hang-ups, the owners are negotiating what they want to do with players, like as now. Because they want to try to knock this thing out. So the owners approved their idea of what they want for the collective bargaining package. So the owners all agreed. The players had to vote. The individual players actually had to vote. The regular union. And they have to get a 2/3 majority, which you're looking at 60.3% or 4% to that.
Every now and then. And of course, every now and then we do have some technical difficulties. That happens when you go live. And so we're going to continue. We'll continue it. Yeah. Simmons on Sports right here on TVOSJ. Continue.
Okay. So, when you start talking about that collective bargaining that has to have 2/3 of the players vote, the proposal is 17 games, an increase in the players' share to 48%. Now, this is what's interesting about the NFL, too. The owners get the 52% and the players get 48% in the NFL. In the NBA, it's in reverse. The players get a 52% share of projected total revenue, and the owners get 48%. And the owners, like I said, to help entice the players to agree to this, want to add an extra game and expand the playoff field to 14 teams. So I think presently the playoffs start, there's 8 teams, they go to 4, and then 2, and then you've got the Super Bowl. Well, they want to make it so that there's 14 teams out of the 32 that go to the playoffs. And you say, okay, well, what's the big deal? Well, it's a big deal financial. Because those games are advertising and stuff that's going to be sold on the networks. And the networks have a TV contract with the owners of the league to broadcast games and sell advertising, and that's how they make their money. So the players have to make this vote and get a 2/3 majority for ratification of this agreement. And the only vote goes to dues-paying members of the NFL Players Association. So that means that if you're a player and you pay dues to be a part of the NFL Players Association, that means any of the things in the agreement that are ratified or accepted, you get a vote, and you have say in that. But now here's where it also gets wonky. As an individual athlete, you negotiate an individual contract. And you're going, huh? I thought they were in a union. I thought all that was taken care of. No. You pay dues to be to be a member, but your individual contract is an agreement between you and that individual team. So, for example, if Betty was a running back and her and I are making the same amount of money, but yet in her contract it's stated that there must must be chocolate-covered strawberries and Gatorade and Doritos at her locker after every game. That's her contract. That doesn't mean that I get that. That means she does. Because she negotiated her agreement individually with the team. So that's the difference between a player contract with a team and being a union member where things are negotiated as the group for dues-paying members.
Got it.
Now, when I used to do some stuff, I used to work, do things for like a individual VIP bodyguard for musical acts and entertainers. And most people don't know this, and this kind of fits with this. The artist gets what's called a rider. And the rider means that because of that artist is working there that night, they will ask for things in their contract that have to be there when they look for them, or it's a violation of that agreement. And they can null and void that agreement. And, for example, the analogy I used of strawberries, chocolate-covered strawberries and Doritos, that comes from Prince. Whenever Prince performed, there were 3 things in his rider that had to be there. It had to be chocolate-covered strawberries, Doritos by the bag, yep, believe it or not, and champagne. Now, why that combination? Who knows? But that was his combination, and it had to be there. Now, I can remember being asked to watch the green room, where he would bring, family, friends, girlfriends. We're not going to go into all that. But that room had to be stocked with that stuff. And my job was to make sure that it was in there and that the people in the green room were getting to enjoy them and had no problems. Now, I said all that to say that the individual agreements from players and the CBA are both issues where it can change in terms of even how much money you make. For example, how much money teams have to spend on players and how much players actually get, or what type of free agency they can enjoy, all comes from the collective bargaining agreement. So, for example, when you look and you see, who can I use as an example? Okay, David Carr of the Raiders is the highest paid player on the Raiders. And coincidentally, well, not coincidentally, actually, most of the quarterbacks in the league are the highest paid players. You can argue as to why that is or if that's right, but from management's perspective, it's more difficult to find a quality quarterback than it is to find wide receivers or running backs or offensive or defensive linemen or linebackers, because they look at those as, and I know it sounds really bad, because it's almost like we're talking about them like cattle. But that they figure those guys are a dime a dozen. We can find offensive linemen, a good offensive lineman somewhere, and so and we have to decide how important that guy is to our team and how much we're going to pay him. And how much the quarterback is paid affects everybody else.
Wow.
So, if David Carr gets $30 million, and your wide receiver, your best wide receiver, who's an all pro and all that good stuff, gets $11 million, and 2 or 3 other guys get 7, 9, 10, 11, or 12 million, you have a salary cap. And that salary cap says a team can only spend, say, $101 million on all 53 players. 5 or 6 guys, the total of $65 million. So you only have $36 million left for the entire rest of the team. Now you say, well, geez, that's a lot of money. Well, that's okay. You'd be paying $30 million over or with some 43 guys. So that means you got to spread $30 million or 30 some odd $1 million over 40 guys. And that means somebody's not going to get paid as much money as other people at their position. And so when that happens, that's when you run into situations where guys start saying, well, I'm going to sit out. I need, I'm not being paid enough. I made all pro. I did this, I did that. Just like this guy who's over there in Miami making $9 million. And I'm over here making, 1.2. You guys got to up me. Or I'll just sit out. Well, because they have an individual agreement with the team, that's actually a real option. Because you're not required to report to work if you're not under contract. So once your contract has ended, you can decide to just not show up, or you won't be in camp unless you have an agreement signed. Now, Tom Brady, who's with New England, well, I don't even know why I bothered to tell you who he is, because everybody knows who he is. Tom Brady has played in New England, his entire career. This year, he's now 42 years old, and he expects to be, he's a free agent, and he expects to be compensated like he's Tom Brady, because he has 6 Super Bowl victories under his belt. The problem is, New England has to try to decide for themselves, okay, how much money is a 42-year-old quarterback? Yes, it's Tom Brady. Yes, he's very good. How much money can we spend on him without it becoming an issue with having to get guys with lesser talent because we can't pay him because of the money Tom's getting? Tom's argument would be, well, check this out. I have played for you now for the last 10, 15 years, 16 years. And I never really charged you my full total value because I did that to help the team sign people that you wouldn't have afforded if I had a seriously big contract. I can get away with that because my wife, Gisele Bundchen, is worth $600 million. So if I'm not making top dollar, it's okay because it's not like her and I are going to starve. And the chances of our success are going to be higher because we're going to be able to afford some guys that can help us win. So I did all that for you. So don't you feel like you owe me the opportunity to pay me what I'm really worth? And now the team's sitting over the corner going, maybe, but you are 42. And at some point, you're not going to be that guy. And then we also got to, help shore up our team and get better in certain positions. And we can't sign other free agents like that if you're going to be the one we're going to pay at that age. So, we'll see what happens. So they're playing a game of chicken with each other. And all this is going on with the collective bargaining agreement and the players trying to raise more revenue. So see it all, and the owners wanting more revenue. So it all ties together. And I know as a fan, most people are just sitting at home, watching the games on TV, and they don't understand or have to think that deeply into it unless, of course, they're one of those super duper fans who's into looking into the details of this kind of stuff. But the truth is that Tom Brady and New England is in a dilemma. When you think New England, the New England Patriots, you think Tom Brady, and you should. because, he's been very successful there and he's been there a long time. But now New England has to ask themselves, do we move on from Tom Brady? Sign a new quarterback, make some trades? Or do we keep him and try to figure out a way to, negotiate or or give him the kind of money he's looking for and then try to work around that? The collective bargaining agreement that they're working on right now is in direct relation to that. Because if the league makes more money and the team makes more money, that means that the salary cap raises. So if the salary cap goes up another 5 or 10 million, that's 5 or 10 million they can get to the players. So see, this is where all of that ties in. And it does affect the product that you see on the field. No question it does. The fact that the Raiders paid Derek Carr that kind of money is one of the reasons why they don't have a big-time wide receiver that they're paying. And that's why the Raiders released Antonio Brown when he became a problem. Because they couldn't afford this guy to act weird and cause problems if they're going to pay him top dollar. You're going to pay this guy $11, $12 million. He needs to show up at OTAs, which is organized team events or whatever, and other stuff, and be the kind of person we can count on. Because he's going to be the second highest paid guy on this team. So he's got to come to work and be ready to work. We can't have no issues, no drama. Can't have this guy getting arrested or having fans disliking his attitude. We can't have that. And so that's why this collective bargaining thing between the NFL Players Association and the owners is big time. Because nobody wants to strike because it'll hurt the game big time. But yet at the same time, this is about money. And the players have to decide, are we willing to take the risk of playing additional games and risk getting hurt or risk, all of these other different things to try to make more money. And the guys who actually benefit from all this won't be the guys at the top because they're going to get their money anyway. It'll be the guys at the bottom. It'll be the rookies, the free agents that will make more projected money when they first begin. So it'll be an interesting situation to see how all that works out. And it's going to be probably a major factor in how things go as far as the NFL's future. So keep an eye on that. And in the future on this program, what we'll do is when we discuss stuff like this, I'm going to take questions or something. If we can't do it live and on the air, what I can do is possibly have people email questions or text questions or whatever. Because it's the kind of thing that a fan should want to talk about, and it's the kind of thing a fan should learn. Because it's not all what you think it is. It's a lot more complicated. It's a business. It's a business. A lot of people think it's like high school. And they'll say stuff like, well, you got to do what you need to do for your team. Wait, whoa. I'm only going to be doing this for so long. And I need to make as much money as I can because it's going to have to last me for the rest of my life. So I'm thinking I'm going to make as much money as I can. And guys leave for that reason. And I have to throw this in as a side note. NBA players make so much money because the way that they're marketed, the way that the league markets them, the fact that there's only 15 guys on a team, the fact that they play in arenas, that they may not be the size of a baseball stadium or a football field, but 18, 20,000 people a night, with season tickets, that's a lot of money. And so somebody like Steph Curry, somebody like Klay Thompson, when Kevin Durant was there, that's three guys making $30+ million a year. So you add their salaries up collectively, and you're probably looking at about close to $100 million just with those three guys. Then you have to make if the salary cap is $113 million, that only leaves you $13 million for all of the other guys. And see, trust me, the NFL players, they see what the NBA players are making. And they're thinking, man, that guy's getting $40 million. What's wrong with me? I'm important. What's wrong with me making that kind of money? Well, the NFL's a different animal. Because it affects what they do, because there's way more people on that team, and it affects how everybody else gets paid when one guy gets paid. So again, take a look at that. And then, you can draw your own conclusion. Now, the next thing I'd like to discuss is some Black historical perspective on, since it's been Black History Month. I am the founder of ASD Sports Media, and I studied journalism in college. And I enjoy writing articles and doing things that stimulate discussion. And so, over the past month of February, I wrote a series of articles for Black History Month. And because I'm a sports guy, of course, they center around sports. And I enjoyed doing the background and study on these people that I've made articles about, because you learn a lot. I learn as much as I find out about. And tonight I'm going to talk about real quickly about a guy by the name of Major Taylor. And I'm bringing him up because he's not something that everybody would know. His name would automatically get you thinking about something. Major Taylor was a cyclist. Yeah, rode bikes. Pedal bikes. 50 years before Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. Major Taylor was a championship bicycle rider. And this was at the turn of the century, 1900, not too far along after Reconstruction had failed. And at that time, cycling was America's most popular sport. So this guy, Marshall Walter Taylor, nicknamed Major, from Indianapolis, worked on bikes, just sort of for fun, started racing in distance races. And he did them on the track and the road. And track, I don't know if you don't know about this, but track racing is what's called a velodrome. It just goes in a circle. It's like Indy 500, except for bikes. And so this guy became a world champion and broke records doing that kind of stuff. And then he started doing this stuff worldwide. He started traveling to Europe and traveling to other different parts of the world, riding bikes and breaking records. Now, all this is going on in addition to a time when, let's just say, Black athletes or Black people in general weren't necessarily treated or given the opportunity to do things without repercussions. And this guy was the number one athlete in the world in his sport or period, when he had fellow riders who tried to intimidate him, verbal insults, threats of physical harm. He had to deal with all that and then still win races, and did win races and set world records. It's kind of like you have to ask yourself, and I always do this, especially when I talk over think of Jackie Robinson. It's one thing to just be good at what you do. It's a whole other thing to be good at what you do and getting threats while you're doing it. And getting threats to yourself or your wife or your children or whatever. I can't even imagine what that was like. And yet these guys dealt with this. and were successful. In my opinion, I find that to be just an amazing thing, that somebody can even focus enough that they can actually go out and win a road race. When somebody's sending you a letter saying, yeah, when you drive by, we're going to shoot you, we're going to snatch you off that bike and choke you to death or hang you from the nearest tree. It's funny because most people don't even know who Major Taylor is. And to be honest with you, the only thing I've ever seen about him that was commercially discussed was in a beer commercial about a year ago. And I believe it was Modelo. Or I don't know if it was that or Dos Equis. One of those beer companies actually did a commercial about the career and life of Major Taylor. And that's what got me to thinking. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. Let me take a look and see something about this guy. And that's when I found out, all the things he had accomplished and all the things he had gone through. And this guy, it's a pretty interesting story. Toward the end of his life, he had severe financial difficulty. It ain't like bike racing was paying him a bunch of money. It's not like the Tour de France right now. Let's get that out of the way. And so he struggled to be able to take care of himself. And he was desperately poor, especially after he was done bike riding. And he eventually went through some serious health issues and even psychological issues because, when you've been considered the best at something in the entire world and then all of a sudden that's taken away due to age or injury or whatever, it's tough. And I'm not just saying that as somebody standing on the sideline saying it. I'm saying it now because I'm dealing with physical issues right now from all the stuff that I was doing when I was playing. So whenever I hear about an athlete going through the psychological part and physiological part of being injured, I get it. Trust me, I get it. Because, I experience it all. I experience it right now. But at the same time, if somebody said to me, would you do it again? I would be like, yeah. Because number one, I'm not that smart. And number two, I really enjoyed what I was doing. And this guy loved cycling. And he loved being who he was. And he's a pioneer that a lot of people really don't know much about. So if you get the opportunity, take an opportunity to get on the internet and take a look at the career and life of Major Taylor. And I think you'll be sufficiently entertained, and you'll be thinking, wow, this guy's interesting dude. I didn't know that. And that's what I do just for fun and games, actually, is I bring those things up and make them discussable so that people can learn about, Black history. Because, again, Black history is American history. And even though some people don't seem to understand that, because there is a Black History Month, it looks like it's separate. That's not the point. The point is that it's done separately so that these things that don't often get discussed get discussed. And that to me, that's something that makes America cool. Is that when we see something that needs to be fixed or something that we can do something to change the perspective, we try it. We do it. And that's what I think is excellent. And that's what allows something like Black History Month to be important. So, like I said, get the opportunity. Look into the life and times of cyclist Major Taylor, and I think you'll be subsequently entertained. You'll understand a lot about a guy, what I call an American hero. Because, like I said, it was people like him that opened the door for other people to do great things as well. So, well, I'm looking at the clock on the wall, folks, and it's looking like...
And over there just 5 minutes. That's okay.
It went fast. Yes.
Yes, it did. Interesting, everything you share. Like I said, it's always educational. Of course, that was Simmons
Well,
on
and
Sports.
that's the whole thing.
Kevin Simmons. I love it. I love it. So,
Well, thank you. Like I said, that's the thing, is giving people something to think about, something to chew on.
food for
I
thought.
apologize if I went a little over. My
No,
bad.
that's okay. We don't have a show right after yours right now, so I let you have that extra time. And whenever we can get that extra time, we'll use it. You know?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Yes. Okay, so can I know I asked you the last time what we have for next week. Is it possible you give us just a little hint of what's going to be covered next Wednesday? Because of course you could listen every Wednesday from 7 to 8, right?
Next
Simmons on
I'm
Sports.
planning on having a guest, having somebody
Yay!
to bring in for people to discuss. And then
Okay.
each following week, when possible, I'm going to try to get in guests and people, and so that and give people a heads up as to what's coming.
Wonderful.
One of the things that I wanted, a person who I would like to bring into an interview is a coach and a young man who is a track coach, and he's been extremely successful. And he's
Okay.
coaching one of the best athletes in the world right now, and it's right here in Stockton. And
Oh.
this kid is going to get the opportunity to go to the Olympics, or at least try out for the Olympics.
Wow.
Which is
Impressive.
while he's still in high school. So there's your teaser.
Okay, I like it. I like it already. Woo! I'll use this.
And I'll let some stuff out. And for you folks who want to start looking for when these things are coming, they can go to AST Sports Media, and I'll start dropping hints and letting people know who those guests are going to be. And like I said, we'll figure out a way for it. If people have questions while I have those people there, we'll figure out a way to make it happen so you can ask questions.
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan. All right. Okay.
Well, I appreciate it. It was fun, and it's going to be fun every week. So I'm already looking forward to next week.
Wonderful. I know I am. And like I said, hey, you got viewers. The number's climbing, and I love to see that. More and more
That's a
people
good
are tuning
thing.
in.
It feels good.
They're checking you out.
Hopefully you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yes. Great. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Congratulations, my friend. This is show number 3. And of course, like I said, yes, Simmons on Sports every Wednesday, 7 to 8. Now, unless that changes, you're going to let me know, right, Kevin?
Yeah, you bet I will.
Okay, every Wednesday, 7 to 8 p.m., right here on your community radio station, the voice of San Joaquin. Hey. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Thanks, Betty. You have a great evening.
You
Talk
too.
to
Have a
later.
good night. Bye-bye. All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. And like I said, hey, it's going to be every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, 7 to 8. You cannot miss it. Simmons on Sports, spread the word, spread the name, so that way others can also tune in and enjoy. Okay? Very important. Very, very important. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of information of some of the events that are taking place here in Stockton. One of them, of course, is the Become a Census Taker, and that's something that I'm actually applying for. It pays really good, anywhere from $21 an hour to $30. Yo! So yeah, definitely apply. If you're looking for a part-time position, a full-time position, hey, this is the place where you can apply. And I'm going to give you all the extra information so that way you can do that. Apply online, 2020census.gov/jobs. Again, 2020census.gov/jobs. And of course, becoming a census taker, it's extra income, flexible hours, weekly pay, paid training. More information or help apply. Let's see, I'm going to give you the numbers. So grab a pen and piece of paper, 1-855-JOB-2020. Okay, for more information, to apply, give them a call at 1-855-JOB, job, right? 2020. And then also for Federal Relay Service, please call 1-800-877-8339. Or you could also get a hold of them on www.gsa.gov/FedRelay. Okay. Shape your future. Apply today. Okay, United States Census 2020. All right, and then other events that are taking place here in Stockton. The 5th annual, this is through the Kelly's Angels Foundation, presents the 5th annual Crab Feed. And this is all happening at Stockton Civic Auditorium, March the 13th, 2020. Guess who they're featuring? The Latin Magic Band. Wow! Okay, I'm going to go because I know I'm going to dance the night away. Okay, usually, hey, a good dinner, then you get up and dance, work off those calories, right? So, okay, no host bar, cocktail 5:30, and it's going to go till 7 p.m. Dinner begins at 7 to 8, and then Latin Magic Band begins playing at 8:30 to 10 p.m. And that's from 10 p.m. and on, we're going to have a DJ from 10 to 11. More information, you can call Jamie Guerrero at 209-406-9301. For ticket information as well, give him a call, 209-406-9301. And this is taking place at 525 North Center Street in Stockton, California, 95202 at the Stockton Civic Auditorium. Okay, the next event, Marines Toys for Tots. And this is their 23rd annual. Their event is on September the 20th, so you have plenty of time, save the date, put it on your calendar. All right, reserve it. September the 20th, 2020. Oh, all 20s. Look at that. That's so cool. Okay, Stockton Marine Corps Club. They're having the biggest classic car show ever. Okay, bring a toy for a free raffle ticket. They're going to have food, vendors, DJs, and raffle prizes. And it's going to take place at the Chase Chevrolet at 6441 Holman Road in Stockton, California, 95212. Hosted by Chase Chevrolet, Stockton, California. Whoa! Okay, I like that. Okay, the next event, matter of fact, it's the Marines again. They're doing this. This is called a Casino Bus Jackson Rancheria Night. Okay, and this is taking place March the 14th, 2020 with the Stockton Marine Corps Club. And, okay, there is a fee there for donation per person. Looks pretty reasonable. The time is 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. Location is at Lowell's parking lot is where everyone's going to meet to hop on the bus, okay? The casino bus. 3645 Hammer Lane, Stockton, California, 95212. They're going to also raffle on a way over. Okay, raffle on the way over. Guess what? 50-50. Oh, win some cash. Okay, I could do that. Okay, I like that. And also, you will also receive money. So the money that you do invest, you get it back in like coupon forms for the slot play or the match play. So you get your money back, which I think is so cool. Okay, for ticket information or let's see, call. I don't have a name, but I have a phone number, 209-227-8008. For ticket information, 209-227-8008. Okay? All right. Saturday will be seafood buffet. Please RSVP when you purchase your seats. All right. So that's the other event. And then the other, I'm always looking for events that are happening right here in Stockton, San Joaquin Valley. So if you have an event and you'd like to drop off a flyer, a banner, you could do so right over here off the Miracle Mile at 231 Bedford Road, Stockton, California. We're right across the street from Werlo's and right behind the Art Lab. That's where you can find us. We're in the Peace and Justice Building, 231 Bedford Road, Stockton, California. All right. More information, give us a call at 209-467-4455 right here at the Voice of San Joaquin. We are a bigger name, bigger mission, community-inspired, member-supported, volunteer-powered. When a community has a voice, it has a power to shape its own destiny. Become a member today. It's only, $20-25 a year. Okay, find us on thevoiceofsanjoaquin.org or tvosj.org and become a member today. We're also looking for volunteers. Anybody that wants to help out community radio, we're right here. Give us a call, 209-467-4455. Thank you so much. And again, you could tune in to Simmons On Sports every Wednesday, 7 to 8 p.m. Done by Kevin Simmons, my friend.